Alright you guys, I know this is long overdue, but here it is. Wood splitting ABCs is what I'm going to call this video. Start to finish, I'm just going to show you the 4 tools that you absolutely need to get started with splitting wood on your own. I'm going to teach you how to swing an axe properly. And then finally, a full Q&A, which I have not done in a long time. So the first tool you're going to need is a hatchet. Now, a hatchet, just small axe. Why do you need a hatchet and why is it first on the list? Because if all else fails and you're trying to survive, you could stay alive with just this. I prefer one with a wooden handle because then it can be replaced and then you can keep the head no matter what. Second tool, smaller splitting axe. A smaller splitting axe will be anywhere from the size of like 4 to 6 pounds, somewhere in there. Long handle so you can get a lot of torque on it, even if you're a smaller person, that leverage helps you a lot. And notice, all splitting axes will have this gradient. We call them cheeks. Once the wood is broken down a little bit and you're just chopping smaller rounds or softwood like cedar and pine and stuff, this will be your go-to axe. So, small splitting axe, tool number 2. Tool number 3, big scary maul. They're heavier, so obviously they're great for splitting harder pieces of wood or more difficult pieces of wood. But the real reason you need a maul is right here. You need a sledgehammer on the back of it, that's what makes it a maul, because you're going to be using it for our 4th tool, that is a wedge. A splitting wedge is a piece of steel that almost looks like a sharpened railroad tie, so you can sledge it in half. So, without further ado, we are going to start splitting technique, and then we'll get into picking out wood. Most people get their hatchet, they get their piece of wood, they hold it steady, and they swing. And then they'll pick it up, smash it, and there you go. But I'm going to tell you how to do this better. You are going to place your hatchet on the wood already. See how it's already touching? Then I'm going to pick up the wood and drop it down so the hatchet can get into that wood without me swinging with my fingers anywhere near it. So let's do that. It's much safer, much easier, and better for your aim. So you'll just pick it up, and that's it. Let me do it one more time. Even smaller piece. Look, I don't have to aim, I don't have to swing. Pick it up, move your hand at the top, and push down. So there we go. You're ready for kindling. Let's move on to swinging a mid-size axe. We're just going to use a nice small piece of dry softwood. And then we're going to use our small splitting axe that I talked about earlier. What you're going to do is just put it right over your head, drag that top hand down, and then make a pulling motion as you kind of crunch and push your hips back all at the same time. I'm not going to bend my knees much. That's nonsense. You don't need to bend your knees and drop all the way down, but it's going to look like this. That's it. One more time. Up overhead. Slide that top hand down. That's it. So, notice I'm not swinging very hard. That's because I will not need to for this piece. Here we go. You will pick this maul up when it's time to split more difficult pieces of wood. We don't need to flex for anybody here. This is a lesson, but this is all you're going to do. Same principle. Step, hoist, pull. Step, hoist, pull. Notice how I'm trying to get a rhythm? That's going to help with your aim. So step, hoist, pull. That's all you need to worry about. You'll have it figured out. Please, 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 when you're first getting started with wood splitting, this wedge is going to be guided in gently. We're going to put it right on the outside. Notice how I'm just gently nudging that thing in there. Make sure it's in first. So I'm going to turn my body facing this way because it's not going to kick out as easily from there. Just take your time. See? I'm not having to swing that hard. Don't be a hero. That's it. Here, we'll finish it off. And there you go. There's our stubborn piece of wood, all ready to dry out. Now, for our last lesson of the day, or our last swinging lesson of the day, we're going to talk about rhythm. Rhythm is really necessary when you're going to have to swing more than once. So, your body's going to be in this flow when you're swinging, and it's very exhausting if you lose rhythm. So if you have a chance to practice this, some pieces of wood are going to take multiple swings. When that happens, try to keep a flow going, a rhythm going. It'll help you avoid getting tired as fast. So, swing. Well, I didn't need 2 swings, but hopefully you got a peek at what the rhythm should look like. I'll try to swing a little less hard for this one. 1, 2, get a third, 3. There we go. So, just keep a little bit of rhythm in your head as you swing, and it'll help you reset and keep it going. Reset, keep it going. So you notice that step I take helps me reset, rhythm, go. Reset, rhythm, go. The rhythm is in your step because that's going to help you swing the same every time. That's what you really need to do, is get that swing to be consistent. Now the last tip is the most underrated. It involves a chainsaw. When you cut your wood to begin with, before you ever split it, when you cut your wood, you need straight, flat chainsaw cuts. If your wood isn't flat to begin with, it's going to set you up for failure. If you don't take that tip seriously, you're going to struggle for the rest of your life. Good chainsaw cuts. This is the video I promised you guys. It is a full Q&A. Your questions, my answers. Let's make it happen. So the first question I got was, what trim do I get or ask for at the barber shop? Usually I get what's called a mid-drop fade, and I leave as much chunkiness on the top as I can. But you will see as I start to grow my hair out sometimes on the top and I start like kind of slicking it back a little bit, I'll switch to what's called a low taper. The next question was, do I harvest the wood myself? And the answer is yes, I do. Truth is I cut down either dead, diseased, or invasive trees, or I cut up dead, fallen trees off the forest floor. Believe it or not, that's actually really good for the forest, and you need permits for it. You need these tags. You have to write the date on them. You have to fill out how much wood you've taken, and you need these permits. You pay for them. I do everything by hand because it's not a big operation. Obviously, it's just me, and it's good for the forest. I know a lot of the world isn't ready to hear that, but it keeps the big forest fires from absolutely devastating the rest of the healthy trees. So that's the process I stick to. So I genuinely appreciate that compliment more than you'll ever know, but I'm not a very big guy. I'm like 6 feet tall, 200 pounds on a heavy day, 195 pounds most of the time. So that's where I fluctuate, not a very big human. But one of the main staples in what I eat is I hunt for meat. If you want my macros, I probably eat like 285 grams of carbs a day, 200 grams of protein, and 75 to 85 grams of fat. Are you ever scared when chopping trees or cutting trees, etc.? Yep. People get really hurt and really injured and maimed all the time working with power tools, working around trees. Accidents are much scarier when you're holding a chainsaw in your hand. So the long and short of it is, yep. Do you plan on filming tree felling with the chainsaw video at some point? The internet gets a lot more sensitive when you show the cutting and falling of a tree that was already standing, because it's just, people aren't educated on that. And I don't want to have that fight. So I've noticed people are fine with it if they only have to see the wood getting split and not the tree felling. So I try to avoid those videos. Weird dogs, funny dogs, but super fun. She's not even a year old, and look how big she is. Favorite drink? I love beer. If you ask my favorites, they used to be like a bunch of bougie craft beers, but now I like just the standard ones. My favorites are Coors Original, Guinness, Draft, and Japanese beer. It's called Asahi, I think. Yeah, I don't know if you meant alcoholic beverages or if you meant non-alcoholic beverages. So I think I went with what I was craving. Do you have to do any other workouts to stay in shape as well as you? Again, thank you a ton. But no, splitting wood is not a great muscle builder. You really should be doing some exercises to maintain muscle and build strength and stuff. And for me, that's weightlifting. If you're interested in doing more stuff the way I do it, I have an entire app, and it's called Dose, D-O-S-E, and it's on all app stores, and it's really inexpensive. We're standing right now inside my next home gym. I have a master's degree in exercise physiology, I used to be a Division I strength and conditioning coach in the NCAA. I know that's hard to believe, but yeah, you can look forward to seeing me make lots of fitness-based content in this big home gym. So that's coming soon. This one is actually pretty intuitive for whoever asked this. Good job, because I don't talk about it a lot, but they asked, was your father a woodcutter and is he still alive? No, he's not still alive. He passed away when I was a teenager, but yes, he was an awesome woodcutter. He did leave me with all of his equipment. I did do a lot of that stuff as a young kid, so growing up I was around it all the time, so that helped a bunch. And then my thought was, hey, when I get done with school, I'm never gonna work with my hands again because this is exhausting and I just wanna sit at a desk. But then something clicked in my head and I missed being outside more. I missed my old life, so I came back to this lifestyle and here we are.